my emotions on my sleeve, so I will probably be bawling by the end of it.
Let it out.
All right. Well, I'm Carter Purcell. I met Allison as Carter McCarty our first year at San Diego State. We both were transfers, both vivacious interior designer wannabe at the time. And she comes in to our first art class, as I do as well, with the most perfect bob. Like, I mean, it's out of a Hair magazine, perfect debutante, straight out of or Scottsdale, sorry, bob. And I'm looking around the room trying to size it up, like, who's gonna be my new friend? And I turn around and I see Allison. She has a gigantic, warm, glowing smile, as we all know, and a little twinkle of mischief in her eyes. And I turn around and I go, "Hi, my name is Carter." And that was all she wrote. From then on, we went through all our college years, the last 3, because it took us a while to finally graduate. College years, overall years, it was pure fashion. We had so much fun at the Beachcomber. Every rugby boy was in love with her. It was amazing. She was a runner, she was a swimmer, she was an amazing interior designer. We got to work together, we got to live together, we painted our house on the beach bright, flaming pink. She flew to France when I was in France. This gigantic and pregnant, and we had a blast all over Amsterdam, Paris, with my mom. She was a part of our family. She was our heart. She was an extension of our family. I know her. Every single person in our family knew and loved her. She would travel to see my brother without me in San Francisco and party and do everything wild and crazy just like Allison is. She would be down in Cabo with my mom and have heart-to-hearts and just love with everybody, my dad, my stepdad, my brother TJ. It's like Allison was part of our family. And this is such a surreal moment to be here and have her gone, but she's not gone. She's always going to be shining down on us with her smile and with that twinkle of mischief in her eyes. And I'll still keep getting into mischief. I love you, Allison.
All right. Anyone else before Adam Unger? Oh my God.
I think Brad Perkins was his name.
Oh, good.
Hello.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Becky.
I met Al about 17 years ago when I started working at Design Line Interiors. I was young and a bit intimidated in the beginning, but Al was so welcoming and always greeted me with that big, beautiful smile of hers. That smile is all I see when I think of Al. Her positive personality and sincere kindness would draw you to her. She could, and she did, make friends within minutes of a conversation. She recruited me to work with her years later at Parker Rose Design. We spent so many long hours driving to and from project walks and installs for years. So many long drives that seemed to pass by when you have a friend to engage in conversations with. I heard so many stories of friends that I knew and I didn't know. Al loved her friends and she treasured the relationships she had. Al was an ardent supporter of her friends and family. She was always offering help before it even crossed her mind to ask for it. She wanted to see her loved ones happy and genuinely wanted to contribute. When she loved you, you could feel it, and she would always show up for you. You never expect to lose such a special person in your life so early. But you hope that you told them and you showed them enough how much you love them. Hope they knew just how amazing of a human all really are. From her great personality, to her creative talents, to her dedication to work, to her supportive friendship. Every time I see a photo or article pertaining to Eddie Vedder, it will pain me. Every time I see anything about the breast cancer awareness walk, it will remind me of Al's devotion and participation. Every time I eat at Marketplace Grill or have an outside meal, it will remind me of Al's daily routine meals and her big smile saying, "I'm a creature of habit." Every time I go to the desert, it will remind me of all the trips and houses we installed out there together and Al's strong work ethic. And every time I think about a genuine and valued friendship, I will think about Al, a remarkable soul that has touched so many lives. I am so grateful to be one of them. Charlie, Patty, and Lindsay, it goes without saying that not only was Al special, but she was very, very loved. Her character and values show how wonderful her family is. Thank you for having us a part of this celebration of her life. I also wanted to thank Mark and Carly for securing this space for the event. I remember her bringing me down here so excited to show me this area. We both love elements of mid-century design, especially this. So she knew I would appreciate it as much as she did. I love this space and this particular beach. It was a very special place.
Thank you, Becky. And Becky and Mike made the amazing collage and all the large photos that you see. Thank you, Becky, for bringing her to life here with us today. And next, the person that Allison always called Addie, who we grew up with for years in Arizona.
To know Allison was to know an amazing soul. One with caring heart, impeccable style, charm, and sophistication. My name is Adam Unger, and I was incredibly fortunate to know Allison for most of her far too short life. While I knew her since elementary school, it was through my high school friendship with Lindsay that I was able to really get to know her. I was halfway in age between both sisters, so during one of the Herf's annual treks to Vail, I happily took Allison's place when she was too busy with her Pi sisters at ASU doing Colorado. It was an amazing ski trip, and I had Allison to thank. A year or so later, Allison and I worked together at the Royal Palms Hotel. She was a gracious hostess while I bussed the tables. She greeted everyone with a beautiful smile, dressed not to the 9s, but to the 10s. Many nights I overheard her say, "No, there is no seating available for walk-ins on a Saturday night at 7, or your table will be ready as soon as the guests currently sitting there finish their bottle of wine they just opened and pay the bill." However, she had the charming way of telling people bad news that made them say, "Wonderful, will you have a drink?" We were the perfect team. She made guests feel great as they came in, and I hurriedly reset the tables to seat them. We pooled the tips at the end of the night and all go home happy. And when we weren't busy, I'd stand next to her, making it look like we were discussing important seating strategy, all the while gossiping about the restaurant staff. While there were many stories to share, one stands out. Lindsay and I were living in Chicago post-college, and Allison decided to fly in from San Diego for a weekend getaway. That, of course, meant that the three of us together were going to go out for a night in the Windy City. Upon arriving at my tiny 400-square-foot studio, I said hello to Lindsay and was then immediately awestruck at what I saw next. Standing in the doorframe was Allison in head-to-toe mahogany-colored mink coat. Draped around her neck was a snow-white cashmere scarf. I was very impressed at how all of this fur could so delicately rest on a set of jet black heels. It's a 1970 Patty Herf original, she proudly said. It looked as if several animals were procured from the nearby Lincoln Park Zoo simply to grant this much. Allison loved animals, and apparently wearing them too. Full disclosure, she might have mentioned it was fake fur. I just don't recall. Keep in mind this was Illinois sometime in the early fall. Still too warm for gloves, yet cool enough for a long sleeve later at night. And yet there she was, all 5 feet 2 inches, dressed as if she was going to watch the beloved Packers at Lambeau Field in January. I believe that greeting was followed by, "I'm overheated, I need an air conditioner immediately." I pointed across the room to the overworked window unit, still not turned off for the winter. She hurriedly rushed over to it, planted herself in a nearby chair that doubled as my coffee table, removed the scarf, opened up her jacket, and waited impatiently for the sputtering machine to cool her off. "Coat check," I said. She refused as she frantically waved her hands as a fan. I don't remember her exact words, but it was something along the lines of, "I spend my days in either Arizona or California, and this is my only chance to wear this coat. It's not coming off until I'm on the plane on Sunday." She looked amazing, by the way. She then said she loved a dirty martini with blue cheese olives. Being fresh out of school myself, cash-strapped, and having been exposed to kegs and alcohol consumed directly from the bottle, I was at a complete loss at what dirty or martini meant. And I certainly didn't have the luxury of olives gorged with blue cheese. She explained that it's 2 parts vodka, 1 part olive juice, shaken, and then poured into a chilled martini glass, none of which I had. She then said, "Once poured, you can add shaved ice for dramatic effect." Upon reaching a standard human temperature, the 3 of us finished off an already opened bottle of white wine and made our way out, stopping at a bar to have a professionally made drink. That is still my go-to drink 20 years later. I remember the next Thanksgiving where we all made a poor attempt at cooking, or several years later when Allison would drive up to Los Angeles to visit me where I was living. She attended my wedding in D.C., became friends with my friends, and over numerous holidays we'd do AZ88 in Scottsdale for dinner. She was an animal lover at heart and was always the first to like my Instagram posts on my dogs that I post too much of. She laughed at my jokes that weren't funny and affectionately called me Addie as she was giving me an update on the highs and lows of her own life. Too many memories to share, none to be forgotten. These past few months have been, and really years, have been tremendously heartbreaking. No one can truly understand the pain she went through, but her life and struggle put everything in proper perspective when we think we've been thrown a curveball ourselves. I never shared with her the pain of losing my father to cancer, given the challenges she was simultaneously facing. But I will never forget the Herfs attending the service and showing their support despite their own worries for their daughter. Allison was a fighter, and while she's no longer with us, we can say that she did win the fight. The people here today are proof that her life had an impact on so many. I'll always smile when I think of her gracing the heavens, wearing her Patty Herf original, and sipping a perfectly shaken dirty martini. And for dramatic effect, I hope she drops down a blue cheese olive every now and then, and we'll cheers to a remarkable life. Until we meet again, so long, friend.
Perkins, are you ready? Patty had thrown your name in, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was thrilled.
There's been so many beautiful speeches tonight, and I apologize to everyone not being proud of myself for a nice one on this.
But you're another preschool friend.
I met Allison at Kachina Country Day as a preschooler at about 4 years old. I think there's some photos of us in bathtubs together as 5-year-olds. She's been one of the greatest lifelong friends I could ever ask for, and I think that we're all so blessed to have known her. And Her smile lit up every room and made everyone feel like a friend. And she was someone who will live in our hearts for the rest of our lives. Love y'all.
All right, I don't wanna.
I will.
All right, here we go.
No,
We're gonna take these
I probably don't even need the microphone, huh? Friends with Al since we were 21, living in the cat box beach house down in Pacific Beach. Tons and tons and tons of great times and great memories, evident through like the millions of pictures I probably oversent to the Google Drive. But the thing that I love the most about Al, and I think it's so evident by all of us here today, are the way that she had friends from high school, her family, her design girls, her college friends. You know, there was so many of us that she brought together, and I think that the connections that she made and that we can share are the way that her legacy lives on between us. So, thanks so much for loving my friend exactly the same way that I did.
So you want to say anything? Miss Sue Powell. Or Aunt Sue.
Aunt Sue.
I'll try to get through this. We are the family that they would come over and we'd go into our pantry and
Which I didn't know
watch
about.
Sex in the City. we met them, I think Lindsay was 9 months old, and she was a daughter. Very good friends with my children. We did things as a family, we both did the Herfs, and Patty and I had been walking or running or we were biking because we're older for years. We'd get up and meet at 5:30 in the morning and we've been, it's just kind of what we do. But it's wonderful to see everyone here. I don't know most of you, but I feel a lot about you. And Allison was one of a kind. And I think she's touched everybody that's here. And I know Patty and Charlie appreciate everybody for coming and for letting them know how much she meant to all of you. So that's what I'm going to say.
That's just perfect. Yeah.